Hey there, Polly and Drews from All Things Chiropractic Podcast. Well, Dr. Davini and I had the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Michael Miller, and it was such a robust and fun interview that we ended up cutting it into two parts. So this week is part one of our interview with Dr. Michael Miller. We hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
Welcome to All Things Chiropractic.
Welcome to another episode of All Things Chiropractic. I'm Paul Andrews.
I'm Dr. Mark Davini. Welcome, everyone.
We have a special guest today. We are very excited. We're psyched to have you, Dr. Michael Miller. Thank you for being here.
Perfectly welcome. My
So,
pleasure.
we always ask our guests the first question is, what is your chiropractic story? How did you get into and become a chiropractor?
Mine is a little convolutional because initially I was at Boston University, pre-med, and I decided to do some research at the BU Medical Center on neurosurgical developments as far as dealing with issues with certain patients who had issues, brain issues, where they were unable to concentrate or keep their train of thought in one direction. They were working with different medications, chlorpromazine and some other medications to try to see. We were doing experimental studies with rats that had lesions of their brains artificially induced. And with the medication, they were able to concentrate on tasks that we designed for them. And they would not keep their eyes off of the lights or any type of signals we had in the cage once they were on the medication. So I was going along the lines of going into a neurosurgical background until some of the physicians that I was working with and some of the PhD people said that I should consider chiropractic because
Seriously.
if they had had the opportunity in their days, they would have wanted to look into something more natural that had different subspecialties,
That's
sports
amazing.
medicine,
How
neurology,
long ago was that?
radiology. That was back probably over 47, 48 years ago.
Here in
'Cause I've been in practice
Massachusetts,
47.
neurosurgeon said that to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And they said, if you go into neurosurgery, we need to warn you of one thing. It's very, very depressing because once we open the skull and the brain is exposed, it usually does damage. So a lot of these cases have negative outcomes at the end, or they remove a brain tumor on a patient and somehow or other it reoccurs. So it's not what you
Wow.
expect it to be. And they pretty much turned me against it. And as
Wow.
basically they challenged me. They said, why don't you go to one of the chiropractic colleges just to sit there or talk to some patients and see what you get out of it? So I went to Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa, and I sat in the waiting room of the clinic and I started to ask some patients that were there. I said, why are you seeking chiropractic care? Have you had medical care prior to this? And they all had similar answers to it, that they basically tried the medical approach. It was unsuccessful for them. It was more, what pharmacologically can we do to decrease your symptoms? And once they saw a chiropractor, it seemed to get rid of the source of the problem and they were able to, lead enriched lives. So
Wow.
first I thought I was being brainwashed by people. Yeah. And
I
then
have
I
to
just
say,
decided,
Yeah.
Doc, I have to say, based on your timeline, you were getting recommendations from people in the medical field only 13 years after licensure happened in the state of Massachusetts to go be a chiropractor. That's not a story we hear about those
no,
days.
yeah, it was unusual, but these doctors were very honest with me.
I
And they
guess
Yeah.
said,
so.
try it out and see. And when I did start school there, when they started with the philosophy of chiropractic and so forth, and the innate intelligence, I almost started to think, am I being brainwashed by all of this? Until you could actually visit the clinic and you could hear repeated stories of success from patients.
Nice.
But they didn't say
Yeah.
go be a GP or something
No,
else.
no, they didn't tell me to go into another aspect of medicine. They said maybe this would be a good that's what they would have done because
Wow.
they said there were all different specialties and subspecialties within the realm of chiropractic.
Are those doctors still in practice? Those surgeons still around by any chance? Do you know?
I'm
Did
sure
you
they're
stay
not
in
around any
contact with
a
them?
lot of them have a lot of them were in their late 60s, 70s.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Well,
even
that's
more
pretty amazing.
impressive
Yeah,
then,
I know.
you know? That they would
I know.
recommend chiropractic to you, and hey, you were
Exactly.
smart enough to take that recommendation. That's pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, I took it, I changed course and did an about face, and, to this day, I'm very happy I made the decision. A lot of people will always say, "Are you dissatisfied that you didn't go into medicine?" I said, "Not really, because I enjoy what I do every day."
Wow.
Are you
Do
gonna
you
make the same income as someone who's doing brain surgery? Obviously not, but I'm rewarded by different results you see from day to day, so
Your patients aren't dying on you because of what you
exactly.
did.
They're not dying and they don't have as serious conditions as what I saw when I was at BU Medical Center.
Wow.
do you
Wow.
I find it interesting that you're researching TBI basically and brain injuries back then, and that sort of
Right.
lends itself to the work you did with the NFL, doesn't it? I mean, somehow it seems to connect.
It all connects. I mean, with the NFL and different collisions and forces that are induced into the head and brain, you're always gonna see traumatic brain injuries and concussion. So, they did do a lot of research at BU. That's the epicenter for investigating what type of techniques can be used in football to reduce the effects of it. No matter how many times they try to redesign a helmet, there's no design in a helmet that can prevent concussions.
Yeah, and I
But,
think
the
for our
great
listeners, we've kind of buried the lead here that, Dr. Miller's unique claim to fame, you might say, aside from being a phenomenal chiropractor, is he was the Patriots or is the Patriots chiropractor. All through
right.
the years of the Super Bowl and the Bill Belichick years and the Tom Brady years, there was also Dr. Michael Miller. So maybe you could tell us a little bit of how that all came about.
Alright, that was it was a good run for me when it happened.
Yeah.
Basically, how it all started is I had one of the original owners, one of the Sullivan sons as a patient. And he was asking me one day, he says, "We have a couple of players here that have just been sitting on the sideline, can't get back into play, complaining of chronic low back pain and, sciatica, one of them, someone had shoulder problems. Do you think you could help with these people?" I said, "I definitely would help. I'd love the challenge." I said, "Send them to my office and I'll see what I can do." And one of them had been out for 8 weeks, the other one about 4 weeks. And they came to the office. I did what I've been trained to do with them, and both of them were back on the field the following week. So they started to talk to people, and it's all word of mouth in this profession, basically. You're not gonna get in the days I started, medical doctors referring patients to you. It didn't happen. So
They'll tell you to be a
Yeah,
yeah,
chiropractor, but they
even though
won't send you
yeah,
patients.
they won't send you patients,
that's
but they
true.
sent you to go to
E
school, right? Yeah.
exactly. But, that's where the division occurred. Even the first orthopedic surgeon that was on the Patriots with me, he was totally anti-chiropractic. He hated me being there. He hated the fact that I wasn't under his direction and control, and he didn't like the camaraderie that I had with the players because the players would high five me, hug me, talk to me, and he didn't have that relationship, so it was threatening to him. But at one point, my wife and I had been in a mall, and they had a guest appearance from one of the players that was there. So my wife says, "Why don't you talk to him? Talk to him, tell him what you do." It's like, "No, I don't like to solicit people like that. He's here to sign autographs." But she went and talked to him and said, "Oh, have you ever considered chiropractic?" So he says, "Yeah, are you the chiropractor?" She says, "I'm not, but my husband is." "Oh, I'd love to do it." In fact, I was told by the owner of the team, that someone that he talked to was gonna consider taking the job. I'd love to have, see a chiropractor. And he was my first long-term patient. And she convinced him to see me. And then he came to see me. And after that, he must have told every single player in the locker room that his problems were resolving and he felt better. And it just mushroomed from that point. And
Now, you had
he
a
was a
unique
defensive, he was a
okay.
defensive uh, tackle in the NFL. And what happened is after his career was over with the Patriots, he was so impressed with the results he had as a player and to, allow him to play further on in his career that we talked him into going into chiropractic. So he
Oh,
he
Wow.
wound up getting his chiropractic degree
Did he
and
go to Palmer?
practiced in South Carolina. He didn't go to Palmer.
Oh, well.
He went to Life
Okay.
because he was from that area,
he
so he
was
Sure.
from
wanted to
the
be
area.
down south.
Oh, wow.
And he was in practice for a good 25 years before he retired. So he started
Wow.
well after me and retired well before me.
Yeah. Well, you kinda had a nice unique relationship with the team, right? I mean, you had a regular ongoing relationship. They weren't just specifically injury
No,
specific.
no,
What
no.
no,
You know,
you
my
saw them.
my role my role in the team that I felt was to be an educator. So I like to explain to each player what we were doing, why we were doing it, the significance of having proactive care to not only treat injuries as they occur, but prevent future injuries from occurring. And they bought into it. And the good thing is I went through 7 head coaches during my career there
Wow.
over the 38 seasons, but every time a new coach came in, they brought their own medical team with them. They got rid of everyone who was there, and I would get calls from the medical director saying, "Just wanna let you know we've all been let go, so you should expect a call soon." I said, "Okay, if that's the case, then that's the case." But each and every time I survived. So,
I love
even
it.
the last time Belichick took over, the medical director called me and he says, "I'm just letting you know we've all been canned." I said, "Well, okay, well, I've had a little relationship with Bill before that because when he was a defensive coordinator
Mm.
working with Parcells, I was treating him for his complaints of what he had. So we had that little bond going." So the day after everyone was let go, my office gets a call from Belichick, and they said he wants to come in the office to talk to me.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
So
boy.
everyone assumed this was doomsday
Yeah.
that he's gonna come in and he wants to fire me in person.
Great.
So he came in, I said, "Is everything all right?" He says, "Yeah, everything's all right. How have you been?" I said, "I'm good." So he got adjusted, and then afterwards I said, "Do you have something to tell me?" So he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Oh, I got a call last night from the medical director." He says, "Oh, yeah." He says, "Everyone's gone." He says, "But the chances of you being let go are less than me being let go."
Oh, all right.
Whoa.
Quote.
Everything we get from, the players' different back, uh, information and anything that you do, they all seem to love what you do. So there's no way you're gonna be replaced. I said,
Wow.
"Well, that makes me
Nice.
feel better." And that night I got calls from every one of them. "Did you get fired? Did you get let go?" I said, "No, I'm still on board here."
Yeah.
So
You know
the
what's
good thing with
interesting?
me is when I left after 38 years, I left of my own volition. I wasn't fired or let go. So I felt better about that.
What's interesting to a lot of the doctors, and this is mostly an audio podcast here, so,
Right.
just to give a perspective, Doctor Miller is not an exceptionally large human being. He's
Right.
normal size, maybe even a little bit on the slighter size, if I might say, right? So,
Not
working with
very.
these huge human beings,
You do have to get used to it.
give us a little
So a
perspective on
lot of
that, doc.
times I've had doctors shadow me when they were in my office, and you could get some people that were 350, 375, and it's all bringing the joints to tension. And if you get the right angle and line of drive, it can be accomplished. You don't have to be a 350 pounder to adjust a 350 pounder. But if you're a slender woman who's 99 pounds, I don't think you're going to adjust someone the likes of Vince Wilfork. But and they would ask me, they said, at one point, one of the female doctors who shadowed me said, "Do you think I can try with the player mind if I try to manipulate him?" I said, "Well, I can ask him and see if he wants to give you a shot at it." So she tried, and I'll never forget it. It was Bruce Armstrong, who was a big offensive lineman, probably about 6'6" and 300 and maybe 40 pounds.
Oh,
She
jeez.
tried to move him a couple of times on a side porch to Glenstead, and after about 3 times and nothing was happening, she goes, "Okay." She goes, "I don't wanna keep aggravating him." So then I leaned on him, and it popped right in. So she goes, "If I had that 4th shot, I probably woulda done it."
Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah,
wa
there
I
we
said,
go.
"Well."
Yeah,
you
that
warmed
it
him up.
takes 4 tries. Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely
yeah,
takes
I
4
didn't
tries.
wanna get him all bent out of shape there, but, you know,
Nice.
Would you
I
see
think
them,
you
like,
need
back to
some
back to back to back? Would you give
back
yourself
to
a
back.
break? Wow.
No, during a game, a Sunday game at the stadium, I would average over 30 to 35 players per game. So anyone that was gonna be active in the game basically got treated before the game. Took me almost 4 hours to do it, but I
Wow.
didn't come up for air. It was one after the other, and then people would come in and say, "Who's after me? Oh, can you get me after you've seen this one?" Willie McGinnis coined an expression in the locker room because he'd always walk in and say, "It's Miller time." And then the whole group inside would start chanting that. And then he would cut in front of anyone who was in line and get right on the table face down, and he'd say, "Who's after me?" It's like, okay, and they go, "Hey, buddy, there's other people that have been here before you." He goes, "I take precedent here. I go ahead of anyone here." And they'd have their little games they play, like the rookies weren't allowed to get on the table until every veteran had been seen. If they did, they would take them by their shirt collars and pull them off the table. So it was
I
a
love it.
pecking order there, but, it was an experience that one thing I can say is every head coach that I've worked under, from the very inception in 1982 to 2020, every single one became a patient of mine, and they all believed in chiropractic.
Nice.
Which is a
Nice.
strong point. At every
Absolutely.
when the head coach believes in it, they encourage the players to do it because they know it's beneficial. And the biggest proponent was Belichick because he mandated the treatment. So it's like he would have when I would get there, there'd be television screens in all the different rooms, their workout room, different meeting rooms, saying, "Dr. Miller will be here from, let's say, 1 to 3 today. Please go in and have treatment as necessary." And he'd ask them before meetings, "If anyone needs to see him, you better go in and see him when he's here." And I would go there on my Wednesday afternoons off as well to see any of the injuries that occurred during the week. But they bought into the system and we educated them so well as to why they're getting treatment. And a lot of players were able to identify what was wrong with them. They'd say, "Doc, I think my left SI joint is out of alignment today, or my sacrum feels like it may be out." And I check them, and sometimes they were right. So I said, "This is how you educate yourself. You know when you feel a certain way, maybe this is a
Yeah.
problem." And my whole key to them to have them continue with the treatment was that when something's out of alignment on an athlete like that, it becomes a distraction to them. So they could be out in the field and you see them twisting and moving and because they know something doesn't feel right. But then if a ball comes flying in their direction, instead of making the interception, they miss it by an inch or whatever because they're concentrating on something they shouldn't be. So when they play naturally and they don't think about that, the distraction's removed. So I said, all we're doing is we're removing the distraction from.
Doc, can I ask you
But,
this? In your
yes.
career working with the league, what has changed in or what can you identify perhaps has changed in their, reception and how they treated you as a chiropractor, chiropractic itself over the years, and how personnel and others may have treated you from when you first started to today?
From when I first started, you were more of an intruder into their territory and you
Mm.
had to prove yourself. So what I did right away is I'm not an expert on marketing, but the NFL Players Association, I got involved with them and became a member with them. And I said, at that time, I was the only chiropractor in the NFL, and there's
Wow.
32 teams. So I was trying to promote the fact that we need a chiropractor on every team. And it took years to do it because they were reluctant to make that change. The medical team said, we don't need a chiropractor on the team. We need the orthopedic surgeon, we need a cardiologist or internist, and an emergency medical specialist in case they needed to create an airway and a serious injury on the field. And over the years, they realized because seeing the players line up to get treated, it's like, wow, this is something, at one point, one of the refs came in and he was in the back of the line. It's like, what is he doing there? And he thought it was a line to get a meal. So he was waiting to get a meal. It's like, no, 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 this is the chiropractor that we're seeing now. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were all waiting to get something to eat.
Oh, that's
But,
funny. Yeah.
over the years, it became much more acceptable, and I convinced the NFL at one point through the Players Association to do research with every team, and when they did get a chiropractor, that was what the report card was that you hear about sometimes in the newspaper. Each team has a report card. They grade how the medical staff is, training staff, the locker room, the meals, the travel, and so forth. And once we got a couple of my friends into the NFL for the Dolphins, for the Ravens, they started to see when the players filled out these reports, the chiropractic part of it was getting a 10 out of 10 all the time, as far
Wow.
as results of what the player
Hmm.
felt most benefited them. So at that point, the ownership and the head coaches say, you can't deny this. They're definitely a beneficial asset to have chiropractic. So
Oh,
I was responsible for
Wow.
getting every team at one point to now have a chiropractor on its side.
wow.
Those
So
friends of yours, you
All
got
the stuff you don't
jobs.
even know that's going on back
Yeah.
there. I mean, the rest of us just watch the
it's
game
all
and go, great.
politics. It was
So, well,
politics at that
yeah,
time. But,
politics, but then results.
results. And they saw
Results.
it. And, the sad thing is, I found out a few years ago that they now combined the trainers and the medical team and chiropractic as one unit now.
Mm.
Mm.
So they don't keep it because the chiropractors were scoring higher than the orthopedic team. So
Uh,
someone must have complained somewhere along
Yeah.
the line. So now it's all in one division, medical care,
Now,
which I
didn't you
didn't
tell
like.
me at one point you had to assert getting chiropractor on your Super Bowl rings?
Yes. Well, what happened is they would not put anything other than team doctor. And all the orthopedic surgeons on the team, on the side of the ring, it all says team doctor. And I said to Kraft, I said, you know what? I want my profession recognized because this profession has helped the NFL and it has helped these players in their lives and their performance. I want chiropractic to be recognized. So I wanted to say team chiropractor and I got them to do it. So
They're
Amazing.
certainly big
all of
enough to fit the word.
well, it says I have one with me now. I'll see what it I don't know if you can make it out here, but it will say team. Let me see if you can see that.
No, pull it back to you a little bit. Yeah, there
Oh,
you go.
yeah. Team it says Miller. Yeah, Team Cairo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we got it in there. And the orthopedic staff was mad afterwards. They said, how did you get yours?
Too
They
bad.
wouldn't put the part on it. It's like,
Oh,
well,
all
I
right, wait a
asked.
minute. To all those people out there that we're from Massachusetts, so let me just ask you this question. How many of those rings do you have, Dr. Miller?
I have 6 Super Bowl and 5 championship rings.
6 Super Bowl and 5. So to all the other teams out there that are trying to say they're the best, let's just sit here for a minute and think about 6 Super Bowl rings and 5 championships. I
So we
love it.
we always had a joke going with me and Brady because Brady in total has 10. He has 7 Super Bowl and 3 championship. So I beat him out by 1 ring. So the only other person in the world that has
Hey.
more than
Yeah.
me is Belichick. He has 12 because he got 2 rings from the Giants.
Right.
Oh, that's
You know,
cool. You only have so many fingers, right?
that's it. It's
I
fun to have it. To me, it's more of a, kibitz when you go out somewhere because they make them so that they're flashy and obnoxious, so wherever you're sitting, people would notice it. Say, "Oh, is that a Super Bowl ring? How'd you get one?" And my wife is always very defensive, so they sometimes say, "You got one too?"
Oh,
She
wow.
goes, "No, no, no, he didn't get one. He earned his."
That's it.
It wasn't
Now,
just
didn't you
given.
tell me at one point you can't have more than 2 of them out because of your insurance company at one time?
At certain events that I went to.
Right.
I don't know. I gotta tell you a funny story. When I went to one of your seminars, I don't know if you remember what happened, but I brought, like, 3 rings,
You brought
Yeah.
3 rings, yes,
and a lot of the
my wife
doctors
is one of those pictures, so she
that
says
has it.
hi.
Okay, great. So, a lot of people, they wanna try it on. They wanna see what it looks like, and, I'm a member of the Professional Football Chiropractic Society,
Mm.
so every year they put on a symposium at the NFL Combine. So, the doctor from the year before that won the Super Bowl, once you win the Super Bowl, you get a Super Bowl ring in June. So the Super Bowl is played in February. By June, it's produced and you're given the ring. So in March of the next year, they will bring the ring so people can see it. And we have areas where they can look at them, try them on. So, they get impressed by it.
Sure.
When I went to your seminar, we had 3 of them out, and I said, okay, everyone can, try them on, take pictures. And all of a sudden, after about a half an hour, I think it was you or something, Dr. Miller has to, leave now, so could everyone please get everything together? And I get 2 of the rings back,
Oh, geez.
and the most recent one I don't have. So I went into a panic mode because it's like, I've never had it, we're missing one.
Yeah.
It's like, does anyone know what happened to the 3rd one, or is anyone else still trying it on? No answer from anyone. And then all of a sudden, a girl came running from the hallway. She goes, "Oh my God, Dr. Miller, I'm sorry. I put this on and I couldn't get it off. I had to go to the restroom and put soap and water on to get it off my
Oh
finger."
my gosh.
I said, "Oh, you
What a
just gave
panic.
me basically a cardiac arrest."
I had no idea that happened at our
Yeah.
Yeah.
conference.
Hey,
So
hey,
it
hey,
was
doc.
funny.
Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, right. Darn, he noticed.
Oh,
yeah, he
man.
Thanks for listening to All Things Chiropractic. We'd love to hear from you. Visit allthingschiropractic.com with comments, episode ideas, or questions. Or connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at All Things Chiropractic Podcast. Be sure to join Dr. Mark Davini and Paul Andrews next time for another episode of All Things Chiropractic.